Welcome into the Audi Performance Studio here at One Jets Drive. Eric Allen with Brian Baldinger and Leger Douzable. It is time for a moment that fans circle on their calendars. Mock draft. Okay? And this is going to be an extended version. We're going to get to the Jets at 10. That's where we're going to go. But before that, we got to tackle the landscape before the green and white are scheduled to select. Let's start with Chicago at 1. We're going to alternate picks. Deuce, you will make the first selection. Is this open a door, shut case? I mean, this is done. This is Caleb Williams.
This is done. The consensus has been Caleb Williams, I would say, for 2 years, Baldy. To me, the most electric quarterback. Now, I think electric energy, a guy that can throw off platform, the wild plays, that's what Caleb Williams has. And when you watch film, Baldy, he can throw in time, right? You see it on tape. I think that's, anytime I talk to scouts, they want to see if a guy can do it. Because if you can see him do it once, that means he can do it more than one time. So a lot of people always wondered, can he live within the structure of the offense? He's shown at USC he can do that. And then another thing about him, he can lead a team because he had no help on that defensive side of the ball. Like, he literally had to put up 50 burgers for them to win. So if you're the Chicago Bears, you finally get your quarterback of the future because maybe Caleb Williams can finally be that guy.
Baldy, you are the commander of Washington now, number 2 overall selection. They're probably going to go a quarterback here as well.
Well, I mean, they took their starting quarterback for the last 18 games, Sam Howell, and they shipped him off to Seattle. So they need a quarterback. Dan Quinn comes in. Why not unite with the quarterback? And I don't know, Leger, if people even realize or remember that Jaden Daniels, he did win the Heisman Trophy.
They seem to forgot, obviously.
Like, when you watch him, he's just such a dynamic player. I mean, his running ability, the talent is just, it's not even raw. It's been developed. He transferred from Arizona State. The last 2 years, he's been dynamic. You can't go wrong here.
I think New England is in a very interesting spot.
On the phone, the Minnesota Vikings have traded up to the New England Patriots, and they are drafting Drake May. When you look at New England, I think they're comfortable with Jacoby Brissett as their starter for right now, as a bridge quarterback starter. Why not gain some draft capital and trade back, right, and really develop this roster the right way? And if you look at the Minnesota Vikings, they trade up to get their quarterback of the future. And even though Drake May is going to be the quarterback that I think they take at 3 overall, I think because you took Sam Darnold, he could start in the beginning of the year and be a bridge quarterback. That way you don't have to force Drake May out there. I believe Drake May needs a developmental year.
Arizona has the 4th overall selection. Do they need a weapon to pair him up with Kyler Murray?
Do they need a weapon?
You mean like somebody beside handing it off to James Conner?
Correct.
I mean, honestly, like Hollywood Brown is gone. Like the receiving core, it's gone. Like they need the next Larry Fitzgerald. You know, and look, Marvin Harrison has been that for 3 years at Ohio State. They need somebody. Like the tight end really developed last year with Kyler when he came in. Kyler played pretty well. But he needs somebody to throw to on the outside. I just think you can plug and play Marvin Harrison, and they upgrade that position, a position of real need, as they begin to build this roster to become more competitive in the NFC West.
You already had a trade for us in round 1. What do the Chargers do here at 5? Because they have a new program under Jim Harbaugh. He wants to win inside the trenches.
He does.
He loves that attitude. Do they go offensive lineman? Do you go receiver here? Do we see us start a run on receivers? Or perhaps do they trade out?
Yeah, this is an interesting scenario for the Chargers, right? Because they could trade back and get some more draft capital because we know they've been in cap purgatory, right? So they need cheap labor right now. So they could trade back and get some young players. But you heard Jim Harbaugh talk, at the owners' meeting, talking about building things in the trenches. To me, they need a playmaker on the outside. They took Quentin Johnson last year in the first round, but Malik Neighbors, with the start and stop ability, the acceleration, he is a big-time playmaker. He literally can take a curl route 70 yards, Baldy. You see it on film all the time. He'll take a curl route in the middle of the field and just leave the rest of the defense for 50 or 60 yards. So, yes, I know Jim Harbaugh wants to build things through the trenches. He wants to run the football, play really good and aggressive defense. But you got Justin Herbert at quarterback. You need a playmaker on the outside for him to go to.
Baldy, let's go across town.
Yeah.
Big Blue. Is this where we see another quarterback?
I think this organization, Joe Shane, Brian Dable, they did not draft Daniel Jones. And so I think it's their chance. Like, they started fresh in Buffalo when they got Josh Allen.
Yes.
And I feel like maybe Saquon's gone. Maybe this is the time you go and get your quarterback here, and J.J. McCarthy. And whether you start him right away or you don't, start building with your quarterback. That's what the great franchises do in this business right now.
Number 7, Tennessee. Got a first-year head coach.
Yep.
Got his dad on staff, Bill Callahan, who's one of the best offensive line coaches in the history of the National Football League.
He was here and doing a great job when he was here.
It looks like you're leading on to something right now.
Well, I actually think I would not be surprised if they moved out of here, but offensive line makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, they're not. If Joe Alt is there at 7, they are running this card in. Like, Petit Frere is a really good tackle, and he's played left and right. I think he can go back to right tackle. They swung and missed with Andre Dillard last year, so they need a left tackle to stabilize that offensive line. And Peter Skoronski had some medical conditions, but played well when he was able to actually play. And you talked about it. Bill Callahan is in the fold. Nobody develops offensive line better than Bill Callahan. So just imagine Joe Alt on that offensive line. Will Levis will be thanking the gods he has some good protection. I don't think they'll trade out of that spot. I think they're running this card in if Joe Alt is at 7.
Baldy, no defensive players have been taken at this point in our mock draft. The Atlanta Falcons are up at number 8.
And this is where the first defensive player comes off the board.
For sure.
Like, you watch Dallas Turner from Alabama. He looks like a polished edge rusher that can step into this business and he can win one-on-ones. He's got a long arm move. He's got exceptional power. He can bend. Like all the things you're looking for an edge rusher to be taken this high. He has it. I think Dallas Turner is the right pick. And it would be, if he's there at 8, it would actually surprise me that they wouldn't take him.
What do you make of Chicago now? At number 9, you have Caleb Williams going number 1 overall. A lot of people have been pegging receiver for them.
I think they go on the defensive side now. Baldy,
do.
this was one of the best defenses the last 6 weeks of the season. Matter of fact, they were the number 1 scoring defense the last 6 weeks of the season. Jared Verse makes a lot more sense to me. Let's not forget they have a defensive-minded coach and Matt Eberflus, right? He really wants to get that last piece to solidify this defense. I think Jared Verse is the pick at pick.
What is Chicago always known for? I mean, the monsters of the Midway, all that stuff is real. Like, their star players have always come on defense. They're a front 4 built team. They want to play zone defense, but it starts with their 4 being able to affect the quarterback. That would really help.
Let's go inside the Jets' war room right now.
Okay.
So what are the Jets' options? What are the conversations being had right now?
Well, to me, if you look at the board right now, Rome Odunze is there, Olu Fashanu is still there, and that's literally probably where it ends with those two.
Maybe Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers maybe is a conversation as well. So those 3 players, to me, positional value. I think Brock Bowers is a little rich. So these are the conversations we'll be having with my guy Baldy right here.
Yeah, but part of the conversation, Lejay, is I feel like for the second year in a row, they're all in on this year.
Correct.
Yeah, I think you've got to maximize Aaron Rodgers while Aaron Rodgers is here. And we don't know how long that is going to be.
Correct.
And I just think you give him as much immediate help.
Yep.
You have to think just in this moment. This is the moment right here. And I think Odunze gives you that moment.
You gentlemen have the Jets taking wide receiver Rome Odunze out of Washington. How does he fit this offense specifically with Garrett Wilson? Williams coming off the ACL, but a prototypical big-time vertical threat on the outside. You also have some young guys here in Xavier Gibson, Jason Brownlee, and the Jets have confidence Alan Lazard is going to return to form here with Aaron Rodgers.
He's a point scorer.
Yeah.
That's what he is. I feel like Rome can establish himself, even with the talent that's around him.
Correct.
Like, just because of how strong his hands are, his route running, how crisp it is already, and his size. I just think that's a guy that Aaron Rodgers, the way he had that relationship with Devontae Adams, the way that we felt like he had it with Garrett going into the season last year, like I feel like he's going to see this guy's talent. And back shoulder fade routes, like he's never going to be covered in Aaron Rodgers' mind. And we've seen him have that success with a bunch of guys in Green Bay. And I feel like he's that type of player.
When he goes up with the football and goes to catch it, it's not 50-50 jump ball. It's 70-30. Rome Odunze is coming down with the football. So now you have him, and you have Mike Williams on the other side who can stretch the defense as well in regards to going up and getting the contested catches as well. You got 2 monsters on the outside and one of the best young route runners in Garrett Wilson on the inside. this would be a potent offense if they were to get Rome Odunze at 10.
Outstanding analysis, gentlemen. We'll have to see how it all plays out on draft weekend.